I am a criminal defense attorney with a decade in practice. So I'm in private practice, meaning I take both retained work, but also assignments. Those that are indigent, those that cannot afford counsel. I'll take those assignments not just downtown at the Justice Center, but also various courts throughout Cuyahoga County. So I'm in court on an almost daily basis, handling everything from low-level misdemeanors to high-level felonies to juvenile cases to appeals. And as a result, I am very familiar with not just how the courts currently operate, but also where improvements are still very much needed. I would say the bulk of my work is downtown at the Justice Center in the court that I seek to be judge. Doing criminal defense work in particular means that I'm talking at length with my clients throughout the process and getting to know them, learning about their histories and their families and their traumas, and just what had to happen for them to be in the position with me representing them. And I think that brings an additional perspective and mindfulness to any decision that you would make from the bench that has the potential to impact the people that would appear in front of you. I also do an extensive amount of work with the county's mental health and developmental disability specialty dockets. So again, just seeing firsthand how necessary it is to get clients access to services, not just in the resolution of their case, but in their everyday lives. I'll be honest, I love my job. I love what I do. But I was getting more and more frustrated with some of the judges that I was practicing in front of and how they talk to people and how they treat those who come before them. And I reached a turning point where I realized that I could either keep complaining behind the scenes or try to do something about it. And so that is my motivation for getting out there and for running. I know that at the bare minimum, I can treat people with basic humanity and respect in my courtroom. Doing criminal defense work, I don't know that we talk about highlights in terms of wins and stats as much as it is addressing an individual's needs on a case-by-case basis. For one client, that might be going to trial and trying to get that not guilty verdict. For another, it might be going to trial and them being found guilty, but still coming out of it feeling like they've had their day in court. For another client, it might be a resolution with a plea that allows them to participate in a first offender program, or a plea that allows for an expungible offense so that they could potentially get it off of their record in the future and not have that offense follow them around. And for some clients, it might even just be finding a resolution that allows them to avoid a license suspension to maintain their employment. So again, I think it's not so much about wins and stats as it is about figuring out what an individual needs on a case-by-case basis. Big picture, I want to address public distrust. I think that too often the first time anyone's meeting a judge is when they're in court in front of them on a really bad day. And I think that it's important for judges to be accessible and involved in the community so that they're interacting with people in more positive settings and not just those negative ones. On an individual courtroom level, I want to make sure that I'm imposing sentences that are achievable, that I am not setting an individual up to fail based on the conditions that are being imposed with their case, so that they can potentially successfully complete their conditions, satisfy any conditions that I impose, and move forward with their lives. I also want to address some issues that I've observed with the court's mental health and developmental disability specialty docket. The docket's fantastic, and often it gives an individual access to services and programming that they can really benefit from. But at the same time, I observed a flaw in the system and too many people not having their issue adequately identified and diagnosed in the first place to allow them to get transferred to that docket and allow them to get access to those services. I think it is so important that not just any attorney that practices in that courthouse, but any judge be able to adequately address and identify mental health issues when appropriate, make sure an individual is getting access to services that they can very much benefit from, and I would want to make sure to do that from my courtroom.